Hello, everyone, and welcome to Was That in Good Taste presents Behind the Bar. We have a very special episode for you today, but before we get into it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm one of your bartenders today, and my name's going to be Chandler Phillips, and with me, as always, is your nearest and dearest co-host,
James Berry.
There he is. Today, we're featuring a fun cocktail that goes by the name of the Brass Elephant. And it comes to us via Braden.
Brass Elephant.
It's the Brass Elephant. It's by Braden Alsnauer of Frasca Restaurant in Boulder, Colorado. And it's real interesting because it uses some fun fall flavors that I feel like this week it really actually started to feel like the change of season. And I wanted to get seasonal. So we got it's an apple brandy, Laird's apple brandy, which is a fall classic. Apple picking.
Applejack.
Apple
Not Apple
Jack.
Steve. Not Apple Paul.
Not Apple John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. It's Applejack. James, what do you know about Applejack? What's the scoop?
Well, I know that Applejack is made of apples. I know that it is jacked. And I know that you can make it using freezer distilling, which is how I first found out about it, which is I was really big into the idea of taking apple cider and distilling it in a freezer, by freezing it, filtering it and continuing to do that.
Like, you mean just kind of like leaving the bottle in the freezer and then letting it explode and then just kind of Zamboniing it off the freezer floor?
That is what happened.
Yeah.
Is there anything special about Applejack?
Applejack is one of our country's most traditional, for the 13 colonies kind of tradition.
Because we're in the Northeast and apples are a huge thing here.
It's a big old thing.
Of course, this is one of the first types of brandies, like one of the most prolific, because we had so many apples.
And it was easy to make. What makes this different from apple brandy is, in fact, the style of distillation. That's the technical name is fractal distillation.
Fractal.
And it's done by freezing because ethanol has a lower freezing point than water, so the water will freeze. The ethanol will keep all the esters and stuff from the fermentation, and so it doesn't like cook. You don't have to worry about like scorching the sugars or anything in it because you're kind of doing it distillation via the opposite way.
Do you think that you'll maintain more of the terroir? Because I feel like we've had this conversation about distilled liquors and terroir before.
I think it's not that you keep the terroir, but you definitely get more tannins. And I don't know if that's translating the same way, but like it definitely feels like there's a difference in the viscosity and the textural mouthfeel of the beverage, of the spirit. I do think this one is barreled, though. It's a straight Applejack, which means it's straight jacked on apples, bro. Laird's is one of the big ones here. But I think there is another Applejack distillery, or like there's a lot of places in the area that do fun apple brandies, apple wines, apple jacques. That's how they pronounce it in the French-speaking regions of Canada.
Is fractal distilling
Jacques.
like as illegal as the other?
Yeah, that whole thing. So, because I remember looking into this and wanting to do it, and then here's the thing. Methanol also, it freezes at a lower point than water. Whereas when you boil it out, you can separate the heads from the mids and the tails. But in fractal distillation, you're just taking out the water. And so it's almost like you're making a reduction via freezing, but you don't get rid of any of the methanol. And so you can be poisoned.
It's one of the, if I'm correct, I think that of distillings, Applejack is one of the ones where people most likely have bad side effects, mostly being severe migraines.
It could be, yeah. And like, and just like if you have a bad batch, you'll not be having a good time. But it's like if a lifetime of drinking heavy amounts of distilled methanol is like your regular thing, it will have severe health side effects.
Absolutely.
The reason modern Applejack makers can do it is because they have like micro screens and stuff that can filter out some of the bad stuff, and it's better for you. They still do fractal distillation, but in a way that like I think they can get colder than what the freezing point for methanol is, so that like they're able to actually do what they're get the same amount of precision in the fractal distillation as volatile distill.
I mean, we just experienced a few weeks ago when I tried to do that fat washed stuff in the freezer, and it just wasn't frozen enough, right? You know, it's hard to get a freezer in a home environment that brings your things down to a not only cold enough, but cold fast enough.
Yeah. It's the cold and the fast. The fast and the cold. Because you got to dissipate a whole lot of thermal energy like that.
Yeah. I'll say so this cocktail. What else is what is this?
It also features, all right, so full disclosure.
It's a twist.
Full disclosure.
You better cool out, big dude.
I full on thought that I could acquire Nocino, an Italian amaro, at least one of our 3 go-to wine and spirits shops.
We got close.
We got real close. We could not find a true Italian Nocino. But I do want to talk about what that is, because that is actually what all the notes that I wrote down for this episode are about. And so who would I be if I didn't...
Wait, could we tell them first, though, about the Nocino?
What happened? What our substitute is?
No, first, what happened? Because we had at least some type of Nocino, which is a green, what is it? Green walnut? Wait, whoa.
So now we're getting into talking about what Nocino is.
It was chocolate, the one that they had.
Oh, yeah.
So they did have one.
It was a green walnut infused liqueur with chocolate essence in it as well. And I was like, nah, I feel like that kind of deviates too much from what we're actually looking. That feels like kind of like a cheat. It feels like I'm a cheater. Doesn't feel like it's staying true to that kind of classic Italian amaro that just, you know how like when you drink a good Campari and you're like, this kind of sucks. Or like
I like Campari.
Like, you know how when you drink like Fernet Branca and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I kind of don't like anything that's happening in my body.
I actually completely agree with that.
When you drink like what is it?
Like horse piss, whatever.
Like horse piss.
Every time.
And you're like swishing it around and you're like, I don't want to be around anymore after this.
I mean, I'll be honest. I understand why people don't like Campari as an example, but I like it, right? And I get why people don't. But once you put it in things and you do things with it, it brings a whole type of character. It's fun. It's good. And it's funky.
And that's what I like about a fun amaro. And so, okay. When I was in California recently, I went to one of the breweries there that's also a hops farm, and they had featured a locally made Nocino, or at least the California version. And that is made with, so I learned this, black walnuts, green walnuts. They're all the same on the inside, man. It's, you know, black walnuts are just the genus of walnut. And then green just means that they're unripened.
Okay.
And they're cool. They're a cool thing.
Cool cats.
They're cool cats. I guess if you harvest them unripened, they can be a tad bit toxic to the touch and to processing. So you have to like ferment them for a day. It's like traditionally you would. So the whole thing about nocino, it comes from Italy. Ta-da! It came there by way of there's some lore that dates it back to Romans writing about it, documenting that some of the Pictish people of like the northern UK, Scotland area were drinking a drink that was a sweetened walnut flavored liqueur or alcohol made from harvested walnuts, and it was like kind of a communal drink, and that has since been passed down to what is now Modera. It's kind of near Bologna in central Italy, central northern Italy.
I'm learning. I love this.
So, because they had to be harvested all delicate like, it was like, oh, they can only be harvested by by women who would climb trees barefoot. And then it was like, well, now they have to be pure of heart to like climb the trees barefoot. And now it's like, whoa, Christianity is kind of taken over now, and we have strong, empowered women who have a role in society outside of subjection. They must be witches. And so then walnuts kind of gradually started being associated with like witch covens.
Oh.
And then because of the way walnut trees operate, there's like if you see a walnut tree, it became associated as like a bad omen, because underneath it they'll release like the tree itself will release a byproduct chemical called like juggalo. No, it's called
Raise your hatchets if you must. Each and every one of us. Boogie woogie woogie woo. I'll just keep saying ICP juggalo
Keep
things
going.
until you.
Juglone. It's
the Needham game.
It's Juglone, and it's a chemical that is produced by the walnut tree and other similar nutting trees, like pecans.
Wow.
Pecans.
Lots of nutting trees.
Lots of nutting trees produce this, and it kills off like other plants underneath of it so that it doesn't have to compete for nutrition in the soil space.
Just like a man. Nut everywhere.
And just kill everything, leave a scorched earth. And it just kind of like fends off having to compete in like dense forests and stuff. And so like people believe like, oh, it's all dead under that tree. That must be where the witches are making their spells and doing all their deals with the
They're
devil.
having their periods under the tree.
Under that tree, they must be evil. And then, but also like, on the opposite hand, walnuts have also become kind of like a symbol of protection and wisdom, and just kind of like cranial durability. Like well, because when you crack open a walnut, the shell inside, like it looks like you're just looking at the top of a skull.
It's true, yeah.
And so people started associating, they're like, hey, it just kind of looks like a brain in there, you know? Nuts, smarts. You got your coconut up here,
nuts,
and your
brain,
your walnuts down there, and so it's like it's like prosperity and protection, and it's just kind of like a good all around good thing. And it's also like it's tasty, and they are well preserved. They live like they're hardy and they're durable, and so they're just kind of like an all around cool nut.
And they do have their place in witchcraft. I know many a kitchen witch who's had a bowl of walnuts that they've roasted. I just think it's a little too much effort for me.
You don't be roasting walnuts?
Just particularly because, I don't know, I think walnuts are pretty expensive. But like my kitchen witch friends, they do keep some on hand frequently, you know. And when you're having like a ritual or something, you know, they'll even throw them on the fire in like a little thing. You know, they'll roast them up.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can split them open. I think there's just like something about being with the earth and Again, like you said, it's really associated with that kind of cranial, intelligent kind of,
Yeah.
it's like associated with health
And wellness.
and wellness.
Well, and it's also the high holidays this
It
week.
is.
And that's also got, I'm pretty sure walnuts are a part of that. No, I might be thinking of the apple walnut mix that you have on Passover, but I'm drawing a blank on what it's called right now. Anyway, as I digress, the nocino became associated with the Italian celebration of San Giovanni, or also St. John's Day, on June 21st. And that became the day in which they would start to harvest their unripened walnuts. And they would then be fermented for an evening, fed on the next morning's dew, the records say. And then they would be soaked in, or they would be split into quarters, mashed up, added with sugar as the preservative and some spices and some like straight, like high proof alcohol. And they would preserve until late October, particularly All Saints Day, when you would crack open the nocino. And that brings
Pointing
us
at
to
this non-nocino.
this ambiguous non-chino. But it does, I feel like it resonates with what we were going for. And it's a locally made booze. Thank you, Wormwood Distillery, Standard Wormwood Distillery, for making this.
We
bought
featured
it.
before the gin, right?
I think we had the gin.
Yeah, I think we had the gin a while ago.
We had the gin.
Yeah, yeah.
It was either the gin or the absinthe.
No, it was the gin. It was the
Okay.
gin. We tasted the absinthe.
Yeah. This is one of the ingredients that they use in their absinthe.
Oh yeah, okay.
So what we got here is a non-chino. It's an amaro made in where are they? Industry City.
Oh yeah, they're in Industry City.
And they got some pretty cool stuff going on. They do a gin, they do an agave spirit, they do a rye whiskey, but this is what's the proof on that? Like 30?
Oh, it's 35.
It's a 35 proof liqueur that is infused with black walnuts and smoked apple, along with another series of fun spices.
With a natural sediment, which is why I didn't realize that had natural sediment.
And so that's actually really neat. That gives it a certain kind of vivaciousness. What is that? What else are the spices it says on here? Smoky aromatics, deep baking spice, and alpine herbaceousness. Bittersweet for sipping on, or old-fashioned spirit, forward in cocktails in small batches.
This cocktail is good, but I really like this, and I actually kind of have a lot to say about this.
Oh, you finished your cocktail already.
I did. I had to because
Do we want to like dissect the cocktail, or no? Say your piece about the amaro.
Because you're talking
first.
about it, and I just have to say, again, this kind of smells and tastes a little bit like a Campari, but it has this smokiness. I think it's it's not cedar, it's not oak. Sandalwood. Yeah, it's sandalwood. It's very interesting. And the flavor kind of reminds me of burnt ends.
Ooh.
It burnt ends.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
it's like smoky. It's like it's a little sweet. It's almost as if you had the end of the brisket or something at the end where it's a little smokier, so you're not really getting a taste of the meat. You're not tasting the sauce. You're getting just a little bit of that smoke.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree.
Not only.
I'm getting notes of like burnt squash skin, or like charred squash skin.
I think that's because there's like still citrus in this.
There's
And I think the citrus with the smokiness is kind of giving you that complex kind of,
even for a squash. I really like this cocktail. I think this is such a well balanced cocktail.
It is, and this makes it for me. That's why I'm so excited. I like the Applejack,
Applejack's solid.
but this Amaro
Steps it up.
steps it up, and I really would like to have this in other things as well. I'd love to have this in a spritz. I'd love to have this with a little bit of I don't know, a gin and tonic.
It's almost got a tad bit of a Fernet kind of finish. And I'd like to see it in maybe something kind of like a Corpse Reviver.
Maybe we should revive the Corpse Reviver.
Ooh.
A revived corpse.
Clear. It's alive. I think this is a fun amaro that I'm actually we should play with it with some anisets.
Oh yes. Also, it'd be fun to mix it with other amaros. That may be interesting as well. To make a cocktail with two amaros.
The amaro after the amaro.
Oh. Like
the day.
It's like soy amaro today. Tomorrow amaro.
Today is amaro's yesterday.
No, I just really like this. I felt like after a while with the cocktail, I wasn't quite sure, right? So first, what's in it, right? The cocktail has vanilla rye whiskey with the vanilla, because we didn't have a vanilla rye, is we used homemade vanilla extract that's actually been sitting there, made with rum for 3 years. Which
it's a 3 year, and it still's got the beans in it.
Yeah. The thing is, you do that because it actually wasn't made perfectly at the beginning when it was first made.
Honey, are any of us?
But that's fine. You just really want it to steep in there, and the longer you leave the vanilla in there, the more it imparts that vanilla flavor. So really, a very small amount of that. Then the Applejack, the Amaro, and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I don't know if it needs it. I think
and the little splash of overproof rum.
And no, I counted that. Yeah, because the rum was with the vanilla.
Oh, you didn't do.
Oh no, sorry, I forgot the rum.
Smith and Cross.
No, sorry, yeah, I forgot.
Because that
is the Smith and Cross is the rye with vanilla.
What I think is interesting is because it's essentially a 1-in-1-in-1 with a dash of bitters.
Yeah.
But technically, it's a 1-in-1-in-1/4 and then a 3/4.
Yeah, it's very strange that they do, but it's good. But this right here is elevating it. This standard wormwood Amaro. You know I love an Amaro. I feel like I like Campari more than you do. We've had this conversation. You prefer Aperol, and I love Aperol, but I like Campari because it's like very grapefruity.
Yeah.
This
I just don't like grapefruit.
Has grapefruit in it. It has that citrus.
No.
I mean, that's the flavor profile slightly.
No.
I'm telling you, it's a little bit of it's okay.
Don't you do this to me.
Don't you do it. Hold on.
Don't you tell me you've got grapefruit in you.
You're going to tell me?
God damn it.
That it doesn't.
You're going to sit there and tell me you got no grapefruit in you.
Taste this.
It's so minty.
It is very minty. Yeah, I like that. It's very minty on the nose and in front of your palate, and it leaves like a spearminty kind ofness in the back. There's a light amount of grapefruit there, but it's not the pith. It's like grapefruit juice. I feel like Campari is a little bit mixture of the pith, like as in addition to into the flesh, where this is not quite orange.
What do you think is that little bittering agent right at the end? That just cheeky little bittering agent, you know? That little secret bittering agent.
I never really think about it. That's the Amaro. Is that
just what Amaro's all about?
That's kind of like, that's
like
the
you
bitter.
Can't have an Amaro without it being a little like, hey, fuck you.
I mean, because they're bitter. They're bitters, right? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So I think
technically
that the bitterness, I swear.
Aren't we all just technically bitters?
Somebody's gonna be like, it's a different citrus. It tastes like a ruby red grapefruit juice.
We're all just a neutral spirit with
a
series of herbs. Just base.
Be the spirit you want to be.
We're just a product of our environments, man. And generations of Italian monks perfecting something and refusing to change it.
Wow, I'm really think that's interesting.
That's all we are.
It is citrus, but it's like grapefruit juice. But it's not grapefruit fresh. It's thick ocean spray, ruby red grapefruit juice.
So
it's sweet.
Ugh.
It's citrus.
Ugh. Go on, keep going.
But then there's like a little bit of. I'm not gonna say like after on my tongue it feels it's like leather, but it's not leather in the flavor. It's really smoky, but it's not artificial smoke. It's something you can chew on. You know what I mean? Sandalwoody.
It's a thick haze of cigar smoke in a lodge next to
But tell me, I know it's not red,
a graveyard.
but I think that if it was artificially colored red, I bet you it has caramel coloring in it. But I bet you if it was red,
No.
you would believe what I'm saying
Don't
because
you tell
this
me
could be
there's
red.
caramel coloring in there.
This could be red. Tell me this could be red.
God.
Tell me this could be an Aperol spritz.
Oh,
Tell me
trying to
because
stay strong for
it
you.
says Amaro. It could be an Amaro spritz.
Oh God.
Would tell me if you had an Amaro spritz night. If you had, let's say you had a spritz night, behind the bar.
Wait, why would you do a spritz night
No, behind the bar.
for spritz and giggles?
Spritz and get episode we did that. Here I'm gonna put it right here. Tell me I'm wrong. You want to do spritzes, right? So you can do, you can do Aperol spritz.
Yeah.
This would go so well just with prosecco. The problem is it's not red,
No, it's kind of brown.
and I
It's
think
it's doo-doo brown.
I think that's the problem. I think that people like the color of the Aperol spritz,
because it's fun, and
but this is not that far off of it.
I think it would need a sweetener if it was in.
Different prosecco, not cheap prosecco. I think if you were doing, I think if you were doing a spritz,
Ooh,
you would
wait,
do
no, I got it.
what,
I
champagne?
figured it out. Nah.
nah.
It's gonna be a Roscato Amaro spritz. So it's a sparkling red on
Oh
this.
yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
the
I could see
vision?
that. Yeah.
Do you see the
Because this is
intention?
sweet. Because this is sweet.
It's got some sweet.
This is pretty sweet. This guy says this is definitely pretty sweet.
I would like it sweeter.
That's why I think like a sweeter type of
Can
sparkling
we just
wine.
can we just get some grenadine out here? Can we just like drink some grenadine? Hey, can we? They're not.
They're asleep
God,
right now.
they're. You know, what's the point of having fictional green room assistants if they're not even gonna not bring you grenadine?
How
right?
about this? If you want us to try that, you should let us know in the comment section below. Because I really think it'd be really fun to do that. You know what? Yeah, that'd be really fun to do and to try. Right? I don't know. There's something interesting about this and it's flooring me. And I think that the color of it will trick you. Remember, the color of these liquors is food coloring often. That's why I mentioned the caramel coloring. You cannot let that influence you.
Nah, this is pure, genuine smoked apple and black
Did somebody at
walnut.
Wormwood find this video? They're like, I can't believe it. I can't
How would you
believe-"
disparage them?
You know
How
what?
could you disparage
Was that
them?
in goodtaste@gmail.com?
We have met and talked to them
That's
at
true.
length.
That is
they are
true.
fantastic
They are
people.
amazing, actually.
God.
I feel like Applejack is something that we've been wanting to make, and I want to do it, and I'm willing to distill like moonshine or make a brandy, but I don't know if I feel comfortable making Applejack. Not because I couldn't do it, because I think that we could do it because we would just do a little some studying. But I don't want to encourage people, I think, to make something that could give you a massive, because apparently the hangovers are debilitating.
I would do an apple brandy, or like I'm totally cool to make like a hard cider and then try to do something from there. But I think doing it in the traditional fashion might just make it not fun, you know?
Yeah, I can see
Might
that.
just kind of kill the vibe. Also, I just kind of slammed the rest of this drink, and I tell you, it is not a slammable drink.
It's not.
It's
But not you slammed it. You could have some more of this straight, and you can
I'm
No,
just, I'm
taste-
gonna-
no.
I tasted.
no taste. I don't believe you. No,
I
no, no.
tried it. I
I don't know.
had it.
No, because here's the thing, and this is how I know it's grapefruit. You know how I know it's grapefruit?
How do you?
'Cause
how
I
do
know
you
it's grapefruit
it's
because
grapefruit?
you like it, but also you don't. And there's something about
There's plenty of things
there's
that
something-
I like, but I don't.
There's something about Campari specifically
Huh?
that like it's the same thing like peanut butter and chocolate. It's not that it's bad. You like this,
I like.
but the grapefruit aspect of it, I think is turning. I think it's too pithy. I swear. Yeah,
I
taste-
think I think it's the alpine herbaceousness that's choking me up.
Taste it.